Hello friend. Got a little bit of a review today. We're going to change the oil on the Diesel and we're going to use an oil extractor from ewktool.com. I got mine off Amazon. We're going to open the box and see if it's actually worth it. Do oil extractors actually help? Do they hinder? Does it remove all the oil? Does it actually save any time? I don't know. Let's see how it goes. Alright, now here in the box we have three different lines. You will be able to see what each one of these lines does here momentarily. Now in the box we have the unit itself. EWK insists on quality is what that says. It's got a valve, a little air outlet, the pump, which goes up and down. Alright, let's see how this thing works. Let's start by opening the hood. As you can see, we've got a 1.9 liter TDI diesel engine. This is a 2005 Volkswagen Beetle. And we're going to see if we can use this pump to change the oil today. Alright, so first we are going to wipe off the end of the dipstick. Undoubtedly it is always dirty. We're going to check the oil and see where we're starting. Ooh, we are low. Yep, we are about 1.5 quarts low. A little more than I would like to have seen, but I haven't checked the oil in a while. Now, with an oil extractor, you have to leave the dipstick out. Grab your rag, wipe off your oil filler cap, open it up, set it up top also. Allow a little bit of airflow. Wipe that off too. Now, with these are the 3 tubes that come with the extractor. I have not used this yet, so we're going to have to see how it turns out. Okay, the main tube goes in the top of the extractor. Let's see if we can figure this out together. Now we've got our extractor here. I'm going to start one more camera. Now it is my understanding that the bigger tube hooks in here and locks into place. A little bit of a twist, a little bit of push to get it in, a little bit of twist to lock in. It's got 2 teeth there on the end that just kind of lock that down. Now on the other end, one of these 2 lines is going to attach to that and then go into the car. It also comes with a little clearing tool. We'll set that up across the windshield for now because it's never been used, so it's not dirty yet. Now we have a thin line and a slightly thicker line. Let's see which one fits. Let's see if the thicker one will fit across and down into the tube quite well. Well, it feels like the thicker one goes down in there just fine. So we are going to connect the input to there. We are down in the dipstick tube. Feels like we're on the bottom of the oil pan. So we are in the dipstick tube. We are connected to the extraction pump. Okay, to get any vacuum, you have to turn this little valve sideways apparently. And start pump and see what happens. If you guys can see that, it is pulling the oil right out the line. Now the car was slightly warm. I just ran to AutoZone, picked up the oil and filters, and it sounds like it's just pumping away. You apparently don't have to pump the entire time, which is nice. I guess we just sit here and wait. If it slows down, we pump again. If this is all there is to it, that is a whole lot easier than having to jack up the car, pull the skid plate off, get the pan underneath, pull the drain plug, let it drain, put the plug back in, wipe it off, make sure it's torqued correctly, put the skid plate back on, put the car back down, and then fill it back up with oil. With this car being a top-mounted oil filter, that won't change anything. You don't have to get under the car to change the oil filter. It just is what it is. I'll give this a couple more pumps, I don't know. I don't know how that's... Sounds like it's still pumping good. It is slightly warm. That would be about right for what the oil was, or the engine temperature was. All right. Everybody can take a break. I have a phone call. Alright, so I got a phone call. I had to interrupt the video. Basically, sitting here pumping because it had pretty much stopped. And if you hear, it's starting to pull air through. It loses all suction. It becomes super easy to pump because it's no longer pulling any oil out. So that's good. If we're pulling, put that back out of there just a little further. Yep, all the oil has been pulled out. And we are in need of a light behind this thing. It is translucent, somewhat. It has measurement markers up the side of it. Now if we grab a rag, take this off, hopefully not flinging oil all over my car too badly. Wipe that off. Alright, we can look inside and see that the oil is about there, which is 3 liters. Apparently we extracted 3 liters from this car. Now granted the oil was low, but it's down at the bottom, it's sucking air. Sounds like a win to me. So far, this is way better. I don't know why we've been changing oil the old way all these years. Now we are going to pull the tube out of the oil dipstick hole. Making sure to wipe it off all the way up and capturing the end, which does not appear to be dripping too bad. But we've got the end of it on here. I don't know if you need to let this up. Sounds good to me. Set this off to the side. Take a rag and wrap the end just so we don't leak any oil anywhere. And we'll just kind of wedge it in here for just a minute. That way that doesn't go anywhere. Okay, now let's get the other tube out of the way. We did not need the thinner of the two. The thicker one fit the car just fine. Set that out of the way off to the side for a minute. Now we need to pull the oil filter and change it. Alright. Starting to turn loose there. Get that thing to start to turn. There we go. Okay. That sounded like it released a little bit of suction, had a little bit of vacuum on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that and see if that vacuum let any more oil back down into the drain pan. So we're going to grab our end again. Apparently we should have done this twice. Put this back down the tube. Feels like it's hitting bottom. Nope, not pulling anything. Set the new filter there for just a second. Let's pull that tube back out. Just a little bit of drips on the end. I don't know how well you can see that, just a little bit. So not super messy. I'm going to try and put this back through the handle for now and see if that holds it or not. Let's sit there. Holds itself up. There we go. Better. Alright, we've got the oil filter housing loose. Pull it out, flip it. We're going to set this down for just a minute. Actually, we're going to pull this filter, which is disgusting. Wipe that off. Wipe off the end. The housing itself. I need to get a small hydrant oil all over my car. Set that down for just a minute. Ugh. Throw away your oil rag and get another one. Wipe off that housing. Get that nice and clean. Next we need a small screwdriver, preferably a flathead. Tiny screwdriver. Set that off to the side for a second. Grab your new oil filter. Open it up. Looks good. Should be an O-ring or 3 in here. 2 O-rings. Perfect. Go down into there. Take your new O-rings. Set them right here for now. You got a little O-ring and a big O-ring for the Volkswagens. The big O-ring goes on the bottom. Little O-ring goes on the top. Still full of oil, as you can see. Take your screwdriver. Just kind of get in there and pull that thing out. Now work it around. One O-ring off. Now, you want to be careful. This center section is not near as strong as the base. Take your little screwdriver, or pick if you've got it. Get in there and hook that little dude. And just work it right off the end. One little O-ring. There we go. We've got the old O-rings out of the way. Set that off to the side for a second. Now one trick that I like to do is I take the new oil and I like to lubricate the O-rings as they go on. Everything's always slippery. You take your screwdriver, wipe off the end, and use that to puncture. Peel that foil back, take that off. That can go in the garbage box. Set that back down. Tip it just a little. You get just a little on your finger. Doesn't take much. You kind of just slide it around until it doesn't have that dry look anymore. Once it's a little bit glossy, you take that big O-ring, put it back down, slide it around and over the threads, back down into its hole. There we go. That is one O-ring changed. Now we still have a little one, and I've got more than enough oil left on my hand from doing the big one. Same thing, slide it up over the end, get one side started, get that one side started, you just kind of roll it around and it'll pop right into place. Alright, that is both O-rings changed out. New filter does not say top or bottom on it, so direction shouldn't matter. Slides on here. A little bit of pressure, pops right in. New filter in place. We are good to go. Now, before we are good to go, let's put the cap back on that oil so I don't knock it over. Set that out of the way. Let's pull this dude back through here. Let's see if we can't suck a little bit of oil out of that filler hole. I don't know how well you can see down in there. Probably not great because the light's not amazing in here. But we were able to pull some of the oil out of the filter housing, which is a nice touch. I've never been able to get that oil out before. I like that. Alright, now I'm going to set this back over off to the side. Put that back through here. Let that kind of hook. Turn that so it stays up. Turn that so it stays up. There we go. Alright, new filter is in. New O-rings are on. Slide that back down in. Thread it down. It's seated all the way by hand. And we're going to give that just a touch of extra torque with the wrench. Now we have used the extractor pump to pull all the oil out of the car. It is time to fill it back up. Now my particular car is supposed to take 5 quarts of oil. We have gallon jugs, which are 4 quarts. So we're going to put in 1 and a bit and see where that's got us sitting. So, try not to block anybody's view and not make a mess. I'm going to go ahead and start pouring this gallon in. should be slightly easier whenever we do the oil on the Jetta here in a little while. The Beetle's got this piece that sticks out over the top of the valve cover. Kind of a pain. Alright, that is a 1 gallon in. Set this jug off the side. We're going to be putting the old oil back in these jugs so it can be disposed of properly. Alright, 1 gallon in. Take our dipstick, which is still wiped off. And we are slightly above. We are right on the money. It's time to start this thing up. Let it cycle through and then check the oil level one more time. Let it run for just a few seconds. Doesn't take all that long for it to build up oil pressure and move everything where it's supposed to be. Check the oil one more time. Wipe off the dipstick. Slightly cleaner part of the rag. Wipe off the dipstick. And we are about a quart low, which is good. We started it on a gallon. It should take 5 quarts. So the fact that we're showing about a quart low is perfect. We're going to use our little screwdriver. Get that foil. Start it. Peel that off. Throw that away. Screwdriver back out of the way. And we've got to put about a quart in here. Now, let's check it one more time. See how close my quart measuring skills are. Right on the money. Wipe that off again. A little bit of drips up there you can go ahead and take care of now. Put your cap back on. Nothing leaked anywhere. We are good to go. That is an oil change. I say the extractor is definitely worth the money. Like I say, this one came from Amazon. It was significantly less expensive than several I've seen on other websites for sale. And it seemed to have done a good job. We've got our new oil, our old oil thing here, old oil jug here. Whenever you're done, pop this back off, take the tube out, and you can pour the oil right out of there into an old jug to get rid of it. 1 for 1. It's time to do the oil on the Jetta. That's 1 oil change done. Let's do another one. We've got another Jetta. Needs its oil change too. That was easy. Let's do it again. We brought the Jetta in. Before we change the oil on it, we need to drain the oil out of here. Now if you turn that back, I don't know if you can see or not, it's got those little bitty teeth on there. It goes in and then it turns to lock. Exact opposite to get it out. But we've got that. Wipe that off so we don't make a mess wherever we set this down real quick. Set that out of the way. Now, the jug here even has a little funnel spout. We're going to use the old oil container. We just brought the new oil in. We're going to open this valve, so hopefully we don't get any backups. It's got a little handle down here on the bottom you can kind of hang on to. and then you pour it in. The capacity of this is probably such that we could do 2 oil changes on our 2 cars. But I'd rather be safe than sorry since this is the first time I've used this. There we go, we've got most of it out of there. I'm going to take that same rag and wipe off the tip just a little bit so it's not dripping all over the place. And we will put the cap on that so if we kick it, we don't make a mess. Alright. Now, the reinstallation of this, that still has some in it. You got your 2 teeth. I'm going to turn that back just a little bit. Take that, push it down, give it just a little twist, locks right into place, and we're good to go. Shut that valve so we can start pumping. Now let's get the Jetta ready for its oil change. We grabbed our rag. Now, just like changing the oil on the Deedle, we've got our line set up on the pump over here, the vacuum extraction pump thing. That can just set off to there for right now. Let's check the oil before we get started. Give that a quick wipe down. Hopefully the lighting is a little bit better on this one than the other one. The oil is perfect. You can see it right there on the thing. Now, wiped off, we're going to set that up just out of the way. Dipstick tube is empty. We're going to go ahead and wipe off and remove the oil filler cap, setting it up with the dipstick. Okay, we've wiped off dipstick. We've done the oil filler cap, wiped off the filler knob. We are going to put the tube down the dipstick tube. You can feel it kind of start to bottom out. And we're going to start pumping slowly. Okay. Should be pulling oil. That's locked in. That's still locked in. It's pulling it. I don't remember how many times we pumped it before. Definitely pulling oil. It's just not making a lot of dripping noises like it was the last time. Now, this engine was just run for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then it set about 10 minutes before we started the oil change on it. And you can feel the heat from the engine oil that it is pulling out. You can hear there at the end, that's where we're running out of oil in the engine. Push that down just a bit. See if we can pull out just a little bit more. Again, this is so much simpler than lifting the car, pulling the skid plate off, pulling the drain plug after you've got the catch pan underneath of it. The chance of bumping that and making a huge mess. If you can hear that, it's just pulling air, so we are good. That is all of the oil out of the bottom of the engine. Now we're just going to leave that sitting there for a minute. And that's too tight for me to pull by hand, which I figured. Put this on here. Give that just a little bit of turn. And see if that's loose enough to get it by hand. Now, unlike the Deedle, this one doesn't sound like it's got that vacuum to it. The Deedle was a lot harder. There was some vacuum on the inside of that was definitely not wanting to let it go. This one came right out. Slide my trash box over here. We'll go ahead and pull that up and over. And this one, the oil filter did not come up with the housing. Not a big deal. But just like the Deedle, there's 2 O-rings on here that we're going to have to change. A little one and a big one. I'm going to set that right there for just a second while we get this oil filter out. And that is nasty. Alright, get our little box right up here. Put that in there and wipe off our drips that we just made. Okay, now we've got that open still. Let's see if any oil drained into the bottom. And it did, just a little bit. You can hear it starting to just suck air. Alright, let's give that a wipe down real quick. And then put that down into the housing for the oil filter. We can suck out that little bits of oil down and around where the filter goes. Alright, we have extracted all the oil we can. That is ready to go. Alright, now let's turn this and set it off to the side. Try and put that tube back through that again so it's not flipping around and making a mess. Let that set right there. Okay, it is time to change the O-rings and put the filter back in. Now, just like on the Deedle, take a small screwdriver, get that bottom O-ring. It comes off super easy. Drop that in the trash. Up here on top, we got the small O-ring. Get that corner on it. A little bit of lift and it just peels right out. 2 O-rings in the garbage. Take that screwdriver and wipe that back off. Now, with our new oil filter, take that out of the package. Set the filter down right there. Now this also has 2 O-rings in it. A big one and a little one. Set those down for just a second. And we're going to get just a little bit of oil on our fingers. Open the cap. Tip that just a little bit and get just a little bit of oil on one of your fingers. Doesn't take much. Grab that O-ring and just kind of get it slippery. Gets that dry look off of it. As long as it's got a glossy wet look, that's exactly what you want. Roll that around. roll it down back into its spot. It's got a little groove on there. Right down the bottom, that is the big O-ring on. Enough oil left on my fingers to do the small one. Same thing, you just don't want it looking dry. As long as it's a little bit shiny, that's perfect. Slide it over the end and roll it right into its little groove. Take your oil filter, put it on there, little push, pops right into place. Set the whole thing back down into the housing. Rotate it on down. Put that down. We got that finger tight. And now we will give it just a little bit of wrench, not much. Just a touch of turn. Now we're ready to start adding oil. Now, since we just did the Deedle, we had to buy 3 gallons of oil because each car takes 5 quarts. They come in a gallon jugs. So in order to make sure we've got our volumes a lot closer, I'm going to start with a full gallon on each car and then take the partial out of a single jug as opposed to trying to guess twice. So we're going to start with a gallon. And we'll start the car on a gallon, let the oil cycle through the engine where it's supposed to be, and then we'll double check and see where the volume is on the dipstick tube at that point. All right, that is 1 gallon in. Set that off to the side. We've still got our partial gallon. Let's put our cap back on and check our dipstick. Now on the Deedle, whenever we did this, before we started it, it was reading full. But after we started, it was reading about a quart low. Same thing here. We are reading full, but we are going to know that that is going to cycle some into it and refill portions that we pulled oil from. So, I'm going to have my assistant start the car. All right, we've started it, we've let it cycle the oil in through, and if this one is like the Deedle, which they are both 1.9 liter TDI diesel Volkswagen engines, although they are from different generations, they should be similar in this aspect. And again, we are right about a quart low. So, we will open the filler cap one more time, set that right up top. Grab our partial, put in approximately a quart of oil, and then check to make sure we're right on par. Set that down. See how close we got it. All right, wiped off. Right on the money. That cap back on there so we don't spill that. Wipe off the filler again. Closed up. That's it. Yeah, in my opinion, an oil extraction pump makes changing the oil, especially on a TDI, so much easier. Like I said, several times already. The process of lifting the car and everything you have to do underneath just to get the oil out. And you never get all the oil out of the housing. That's far better. And that came from Amazon. It was not super expensive. I don't remember how much it was. I want to say it was less than $100, if I remember right. Easy peasy. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed something, learned something. Go out there and get yourself your own oil extraction pump. Save yourself some headache. Yeah, again, that is so simple. So much better than changing the oil the old-fashioned way, crawling under. It's just so much better. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend it. And thanks again for watching.